Hey, what's up, y'all, and welcome to our first spooktacular edition of Mike and Juju's Movie Corner. That's right, y'all, it's the month of pumpkins, trick or treat, and of course, scary movies. Alright, so today we're going to dive into the nostalgic cauldron of 80s to pull out a true horror comedy classic. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's talk about Gremlins.
That's right, Mike. It's October, the air is getting crisp, and we're kicking off the Halloween season with a film that still gives us the heebie-jeebies after all these years. I mean, who can forget those little green monsters invading our screens back in 1984?
1984, man. Hey, Juju, the memories, man. That was a long time ago. I remember being a kid and hiding behind the couch every time the Gremlins would come on. It was like a roller coaster of laughs and jumps. And it's all because of one person. That's Joe Dante and his magical touch.
Absolutely, Mike. Gremlins is a masterpiece from the legendary director, Joe Dante. Did you know that it was actually produced by none other than Steven Spielberg?
I did. I actually did. And if you really pay attention, that itself explains the charm and the blend of horror and comedy. I mean, it's got the Amblin Entertainment stamp all over it. But let's not forget about the man behind the story, Chris Columbus. And that's not the one that sailed to America. It was Chris's first big screenplay, and man, did he knock it the hell out of the park.
He certainly did. The plot is so simple, yet so ingenious. A young man named Billy Peltzer, played by Zach Galligan, receives a strange creature called a Mogwai for Christmas from his father, who's played by one and only Hoyt Axton. The Mogwai comes with three very important rules. Don't expose it to bright light, don't get it wet, and never, ever feed it after midnight.
That's right. Classic rules for any pet, right? I guess. But what happens when you break one of those rules, Juju? Well, let's just say things can get a little hairy.
Or scaly.
Alright, so the Mogwai named Gizmo. Hey, he's adorable. Everybody loves him. He's got those big old eyes, a little button nose. I mean, it's really hard not to fall in love with that little guy. But when that little guy gets wet, damn, that's when the real fun begins.
Oh, yeah. And when the rules are broken, we get the Gremlins. They're like a twisted, evil version of Gizmo. The transformation scene is still one of the most iconic in movie history. The way they go from those cuddly creatures to these mischievous monsters is just brilliant.
Man, like, I remember as a kid just being blown away from the transformation from something you think is going to duplicate a furry, cute little animal, and it comes out this little dragon or fucking lizard looking thing. Hey, and with that said, the practical effects in this movie, mind-blowing, y'all. I mean, for the 80s, just crazy mind-blowing. The Gremlins looked as real and tangible. It's like they could hop off the screen and break havoc at any time.
And speaking of havoc, the Gremlins definitely know how to throw a party. The chaos they cause in the small town of Kingston Falls is nothing short of legendary. The scenes in the movie theater and the bar are pure gold.
Aha, the bar scene. That's a good one. And in the theater when they're watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and they start mimicking it, yeah. That's when you really know the movie isn't just for kids, you know. It's got some serious laugh out loud moments, and it really doesn't shy away from the darker elements either.
Okay. Now let's talk about the cast. Zach Galligan is the quintessential 80s hero.
Definitely.
And Phoebe Cates is a girl next door with a dark twist in her character. Then there's the hilarious Dick Miller as a grumpy neighbor.
Mr. Butterman.
And Judge Reinhold as the hapless love interest, Gerald.
Gerald. Hey, and who can forget the amazing Gizmo? I do not know until I was a grown-up that one of my favorite comedic actors as a kid, Howie Mandel, was the voice of Gizmo. Hey, he really stole the show and everybody's hearts with that performance. And the Gremlins themselves, each with their own twisted personalities. Stripe, I think it was Stripe, the leader with the mohawk, just iconic character. And the the gremlin dresses up like the woman and scares the crap out of Judge Rhino. Classic, priceless.
That's right. The movie soundtrack is another standout. From Jerry Goldsmith's haunting score to the cheesy 80s tunes. It adds so much to the film's atmosphere.
The soundtrack really encapsulates the era, and it brings a big part of what makes the movie so much fun to watch. It's not just the music and the effects, though, that make Gremlins a classic. It's the way it satires our obsession with consumerism and the dangers of playing with forces we do not understand.
Right. That's a deep dive into the film's themes, Mike. But let's not forget the horror aspect. This movie was rated PG-13, which was a pretty new rating back then. And it pushed the boundaries of what was considered suitable for younger audiences.
Yeah, definitely. It was on that borderline, I know. There was some gore and intense scenes that had parents squirming in their seats for sure. The Gremlins' antics are both terrifying and just hilarious. I mean, it really makes the movie a perfect blend of horror and comedy, which we love here. I remember the scene where Billy's mother, iconic Dee Wallace, really great actress, takes on the gremlins in the kitchen and the whole microwave and the blender shit going on. I mean, it really was a cinematic masterpiece.
And let's not forget the Gremlins in the swimming pool scene. It's the most iconic, most chaotic and suspenseful moments in the film. The tension is so high, and the way the music builds up is just fantastic.
And let me tell you, if you're a fan of the original and you haven't seen the sequel, you can really notice some big differences in Gremlins 2, the new batch. It's definitely more over the top, more comedic, with a New York setting and a gremlin that can impersonate other people. That not to forget, he impersonated the movie's own director.
The sequel is a whole new beast, but it's got its own charm. It's like they took everything that worked in that first film and turned the dial up to 11. It's a love letter to the absurdity of the 80s and a great way to spend another Halloween night.
Definitely. So guys, if y'all haven't seen Gremlins yet, do yourself a big favor. Watch it this Halloween. It really is a timeless classic that never gets old. So, remember, keep your malt oil dry. Do not feed it after midnight. And, for goodness sake, do not expose it to bright lights. Bright lights.
That's all for this episode of Mike and Juju's Movie Corner. Thanks for joining us on this nostalgic trip down memory lane. Until next time, keep those gremlins at bay and have a happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, y'all.